What's up, guys? It's KJ.
This is Nate.
And Nate.
Come on.
And you are at an incredible house party. This is the first time ever we've ever had two people helping lead the house party before. You got Nate Jones in the house. We've got a really awesome episode for you tonight. I hope you guys are doing well. Make sure, just real quick, wherever you are, just a round of applause for your leaders, for your hosts, for everyone being there. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for giving your night and your house and your time and bags of Doritos and water bottles and everything to care for students and love everyone who's at your house. And you guys, you have incredible leaders. You have incredible hosts. Tell them thank you. Give them a hug, a fist bump, something. Let them know you love them.
Make some noise for them right now.
Yeah,
just loud,
right now.
Louder. Come on, louder.
I hope they're doing it.
I hope they are.
That would be really lame.
Some kids like cosmic brownies falling out of their mouth while they're doing this.
Cosmic fail. All right, so tonight I wanted to keep things pretty lighthearted. We've had like a lot of heavier weeks in the past few weeks since Motion. And we've, in honor of our podcast coming out this week with Hallie Samuel, talking all about relationships, we thought it'd be fun to talk together about some tips and tricks for dating, relationships.
That's right.
What to do, what not to do, things that maybe we've learned or we've told people or have been told to us. We wanted to pass on to you guys.
Yeah, that's so good. I'm so excited to be here. Dude, thank you so much for having me here.
Of course.
So excited to just see all you guys, how this like interacts and works together in house parties.
It's really cool.
And man, relationTIPS, that's what I need.
I
needed that when I was younger, and so I'm so glad that that's happening right now.
Why do we call it relationTIPS?
I thought you were going with relationTIPS. Next year, relationTIPS.
You heard it here. Next year, relationTIPS.
That's it. Should have known.
That's so good.
So close, like almost there.
Everyone's like, this is weird having KJ talk to someone. This is a weird thing.
They're like, why?
No, I'm also like, why? What are we doing? Okay.
Let's go.
Here we go. So just a couple of tips. We don't have 10 tips. We're just going to rattle off some things to you, just some wisdom that, again, has been shared to us or that just might be beneficial for you as you're entering into this whole dating scene. Maybe you're in a new relationship. Maybe you're a seasoned veteran, which might be a bad thing.
Yeah, that does not.
Then that means that you've got some bad relationships in the past. So wherever you are in the whole spectrum, hopefully this will be helpful to you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll kick things off. First thing that I would say is group dates. Now, okay, you might be like, oh, KJ, you're paid to say group dates. Like, that's so lame. Hear me out. I actually think group dates are kind of fun.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure off. You don't have to think of things all on your own, especially if you're the guy being like, I have to plan a whole night.
Yeah.
You and a bunch of people plan the whole night. And make it like a group activity. And then there's especially if a date goes really weird, because I'm kind of weird, if it's not going the way you want it to go, there's other people to fall back on, or hey, look, he just did something funny. Let's go see that. Or let's go, laugh at this thing, or join these people, or join this conversation, or do this activity with everyone instead of it just being like, so do you like Olive Garden? Do you like your breadsticks? What do I do?
I heard these breadsticks are endless.
I love the salad here.
Oh my.
So it changes everything and makes things just, you're like, oh, but I want to be one-on-one with that guy or one-on-one with that girl. Great. I think there's times for that.
Yeah.
But I also equally think that group dates are not as negative or lame as they sound. I think there's more pros than cons with a group date.
I agree 100%. I mean, like you said, just the pressure alone. I feel like a lot of times in a group setting, you can actually just find out a lot more about people too. And you have friends and other people that can speak in and talk to and interact with you in that group setting.
Exactly
So
right.
Group dates, A+, I love them. Another one I have, if you don't mind, man, this is one of the most important ones. So I don't know if you haven't been paying attention, shame on you, but this one. Do not take a life and don't create a life.
That's great. So we didn't talk about this beforehand, but that's great relationship advice. Tell them about it.
I'm saying, do not take a life. I think that's pretty simple.
I understand.
It's pretty simple. And do not create a life. Like even KJ was saying about group dates and what we've been talking about this whole time. I mean, there's just this temptation to just be alone to yourself, and different things just can happen when you're in those situations. And so that's why group dates are important for this, but also it helps you just not to be tempted to be in those situations, to do things that maybe you don't want to do things that you shouldn't be doing at this age and at this time. So that's my rule thing. That's what I kind of lean on. Don't take a life, don't create a life.
Was that advice that was given to you once?
It was at one point. So
on Motion Retreat?
It was on Motion Retreat, yeah.
I actually don't know. That's a really good advice, though.
Yeah.
I mean, especially the don't take a life part.
Yeah,
That's what I really
honestly, it's sometimes hard. You got to lean into it a little bit. Yeah, that's right.
Next thing I would say is, okay, again, this one might be whatever. Listen to the advice of those around you. Or not even advice, but just like listen to your friends. Like if you've had a lifelong friend or someone you've known for a long time, but then you start dating someone and you just totally walk out of their life, or that boyfriend or girlfriend you're with pushes you away from that established relationship, I think that that's like a red flag to me.
Yeah.
To me, I think like when people are like, hey, where you been? Or like, haven't seen you in a long time. Or do you want to hang out? No, I'm hanging out with so-and-so tonight. And you're like, man, you're always with them. We never see you anymore. Don't get defensive because they might just be spitting truth.
Yeah.
And if they're telling you they haven't seen you in a while, what they're actually, I feel like, really saying is, I miss you.
Yeah.
And things aren't the way that they once were. And like, I want to get back to that. And it's hard to hear because you want to, because you get defensive when people are like, where have you been? Or you don't hang out with us anymore. Like that kind of sucks to hear, but it might be truth that you need to hear. And I would maybe be like, hey, you know what? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I would love to, I'm with them tonight, but are you free tomorrow? Or like, hey, maybe I can bump that date to later this weekend. Are you free? Like do something instead of just being like, well, you suck. And you leave and you burn that bridge. I would fight for that relationship with that person.
Yeah, 100%. Like you have to be able to just not blow off everyone else and just hang out with that one person, hang out with the new relationship, because that hurts feelings. And also that also just sets you up to not be able to, I mean, once again, it kind of goes back to the group dates. If you're doing it in a group, then you're still hanging out with them also.
Yes.
And so that helps too.
Yeah,
and
it keeps your friends around.
It keeps your friends around. And then also, man, how important is it that the relationships that you've built before to just continue to pour into those relationships? And so I know that maybe you start dating someone and this is the new thing and you want to get to know them and grow with them, but you still have to foster the other relationships that you have in your life.
Especially too, if it's parents. If it's your parents saying this stuff, do not blow that off. Because your parents, like their opinion trumps like everything. So like if your parents are telling you that stuff, or step parent or whoever that is, don't just be like, oh, you're so out, you don't understand, or you don't get them, like you don't see them like I do.
Yeah.
Listen to your parents.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's actually one of the relationship tips that I have. If people go, oh, when should I start dating? Or, oh man, my parents are on a lot. You have to start dating when your parents say that it's right for you to start dating. Some people are like, I was actually talking with a student and they were saying, yeah, you know, I've had like 4 girls, and he's like in 6th grade, like 4 girlfriends in 6th grade. I'm like, what? You're not doing this right. Like, what is the purpose of that? Like he talks about the drama, all the stuff that comes with it. There's just, you have to be smart enough to know like, hey, parents, when is a good time that I'm able to go out on these dates? Also, man, if you can't drive or anything else like that, then it almost becomes pointless. Like your parents are driving you everywhere, dropping you off everywhere. Just kind of wait, just hold on, ask for their advice and say, that's the best time for you to start dating. Me personally, I didn't start dating until after high school. It was in college that I started to date. And so I think it's important to just realize and go, all right, is this a right season for me to, or am I doing this because my friends are doing this? Am I doing this because everyone else is in a relationship, or that's kind of the cool thing to do? Or is this someone that I'm actually looking to be in a relationship with and grow in? So yeah, I think that was like one of the most important things for me.
And I didn't think what you were just getting at, but like didn't even say, was like, is this someone who I could see myself marrying?
Yeah.
Because like you, as Christians, we don't just date people just as a fun activity. Like you're not just like, well, I'm bored, so I guess I'll date someone and see where this goes. No, you're dating someone to see like if there's a future potential there. And so when you're in like, that's why I said at Motion, if you're in 6th through 8th grade, just focus on being friends. Like learn how to be a good friend. High school, start thinking about it, talk to your parents, see what's cool, but like, you know, you're ultimately trying to see like if you could marry this person.
Correct.
And I mean, it happens, but when you're in like 6th grade or 7th grade, like the chances of that, even if you're in 12th grade, like the chances like could just not be there. But you're learning skills to prepare you for your future.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no rush to it.
Man,
like there is no rush to it.
But there is a perceived rush.
Yeah, 100%. So much pressure, and just like always, just like there's no rush to it. Just wait, be chill.
You heard it here.
That's right.
All right, let me think of one more. Okay, I got it. My last relation tip is, This is just a personal rule that I grew up with and that I tell students a lot of times. You might be listening to this and be like, he's told me this. Nothing good happens after 10 p.m.
Ooh, come on.
Nothing good happens after 10 p.m.
So
Listen,
true.
On TV, when you're dating someone because your parents went upstairs or went to bed and you're like, we're watching a movie. No, you're not. Or we're hanging out at a friend's house and everyone's gone, or like it's late, or we all want to do something, or you're on the phone. I know you guys don't really talk that much on the phone, but let's just say you're texting. You know you love sending a text and like pushing the envelope a little bit and being like, ooh, what if I say this?
Yeah.
How's she gonna make me feel? What's she gonna say back? And those 3 little dots you see being like, oh. I call it like you're sleep dopey, like you're sleep happy. So you're not thinking clearly.
Yeah.
You're saying things out of an emotional state and you're like acting maybe in an emotional state that isn't thinking rationally and as someone who is thinking wisely. You're going with your feelings, and the Bible tells us that like our heart is the most deceitful thing. Like who can understand it? Who can trust it?
Yeah.
If you're doing your whole relationship based off of feelings, like that's
out.
not good. Cut it out.
Yeah.
After 10 p.m., nothing good happens. I dare you to prove something to me that's great that happens between you and your, boyfriend or girlfriend before you got to drop them off or before they get picked up. You can't. Nothing good happens. Don't do it.
That's right. Honestly, it pairs well with my point of the taking a life or creating a life. That happens after 10 p.m. So just
that is
shut it
super
down.
true.
Just shut it down.
Just watch
shut
the
it down.
news.
That's it. That's it right there. I think that's super, super important. And that's one of the things that like I had like learned later on in life of like, you know what? If you start setting boundaries in just your relationship, when you start, not even just dating relationships, just relationships in general, just period. When you start setting boundaries, even if it's just from time to who you're hanging out with, anything else like that, you truly, truly can just see God just working in that. And so want to encourage you, if it's 10 p.m., just shut it down. Say, hey, do not disturb, go to bed, do all of that. A tip that I have that I've kind of just like leaned into and loved just in my life, and it's just from, honestly, it was in 6th grade and through high school, what I start to focus on is, this is very important. You told me this one time. No sharing blankets.
Yeah. I don't know why
I'm
I
a
told
big
you
dude, and the problem is there's not much space happening right there. All right, and so I need all the space I'm sorry. I thought you were going to bring that one up. So my biggest advice that I can give to you right here, right now, is above all else, make sure that your relationship with God is first. Before any other relationship, make sure your relationship with God is first. And you may be going, you know what, this person is a Christian. They serve in the church. They're involved. They're helping and leading me and guiding me towards the Lord. Ultimately, you want to make sure that your relationship with God is first. It's not your job to pull this other person along and say, I can date them. I know the Bible talks about being equally yoked. It's like, as I'm dating them, I can bring them closer to God. Yes, you can be a representation. You can be an image of God. You can show off his reflection, his character, his likeness to that person, but it's not you that you're supposed to be leading them to Jesus. It's supposed to be them, your relationship with God being first, foremost before them. And so I think that's just like super, super important. I think that's one thing that we always kind of like play around with just a little bit of just like, I'm a little bit stronger of a Christian, but I can bring her up to my level, or, he's just really strong, or, and, she's going to bring me, it's just always just messing around in that area. That's
really
like
good.
Tough. Yeah.
Man, so you heard it here. I would say any other final tip, like anything just off the top of your head.
Oh,
Just like a rapid fire. He didn't.
Guys pay.
Guys pay. Speaking of guys paying, if you're a guy and you've got homecoming, you've got prom, you've got an anniversary or whatever, and you're going to her house to bring her flowers, get her mom flowers too.
Oh, that's good.
You don't need to get her sisters and all that, but get her mom flowers too, or you're gonna get her like a corsage.
Oh,
No.
corsage.
What do you?
I don't know.
Girls get corsages, guys get. So if you're gonna get her corsage for homecoming or for prom, I know it's coming up, get her mom flowers too. I'm telling you, do it.
That's a win. Man, that's good. I'll take that.
I'll also say, don't hang out under a, that's so dumb. Don't share a blanket. You don't need to share a blanket. You can use your own blanket. You're cold, share a flannel. You get a left arm, you get a right arm, that's it. don't, we're not doing that. And then I would also say, don't hang out. Like, you don't need to hang out in someone's bedroom. I think
100%. Yeah.
We haven't written this down, but I was just thinking of that. You don't need to do homework on someone's bed. You don't need to sit on the bed while they're like getting homework done there. That's like not a place where you need to be. I would also say don't hang out when there's no family or parent. Like if there's no one home, you're not going there. And be wise in cars because there's windows everywhere. And that's not a place to be private or do anything. That's a place to drive. So use it for driving.
Dude, rapid fire, your relationship, like you got it.
Anything else?
No, that's all I got, my man.
Guys, I love you. We love you. This is such an important topic that we just wanted to have a lighthearted, like, you know, relation tips kind of house party night. But if you've got some tips, let us know them.
100%.
Or if there's something you're like, what would you guys say about this? Shoot either of our, you know, Chapel Students Midload, Chapel Students SA accounts, like a DM, and we can hopefully help you with what you're working through and going through right now. We love you. I hope the rest of your night is amazing. Nate, thanks so much for being here.
Bro, thanks for having me.
Students are so lucky to have you, and I'm just honored that you'd spend time with us today.
Thanks for having me, dude. Love being here.
Have a great night. We'll see you next week.